Hey, welcome. This is Osram with another little look at ship design for eventual Spacelegs. We've had an interesting thread on the FD forums about whether or not things have been designed, and I'm just trying to point out that it looks to me as though the argument these ships were designed with with foundations for Spacelegs in mind is maybe a little bit of a stretch of the truth. So, looking around at the different ships, I felt that the Sidewinder would probably be the best ship to exemplify this. Because it's so small, it shows some of the flaws in the notion that, no, the asset's just not in yet, but in fact it is designed as they say it is designed, which is with the space set out and laid out for it to come. Especially when it comes to some of the early dev videos where they specifically talk about how these great cockpits, I mean, take a look around, fantastic, it really is brilliant to be inside it, were set up already with the Spacelegs idea in mind, as in they're almost laid out completely, the cockpit. So this is the first ship, the very first one you get to fly in, and it's a fantastic little cockpit. It's cozy, it's spacey. I wish you could get a view of the 3D sort of sense of presence that you get from being in here. It's amazing. I mean, I'm watching that. Is that a T7 come in, and Python, and either a DBS or a DBE going out. It is fantastic. I'm not knocking the game. I love playing this. However, I don't believe that as the statements were made, the ships internally reflect this. In other words, this hasn't been designed with the foundations for Spacelegs. But it is beautiful. I mean, I'm looking around. It's great. I have to crouch, by the way, and I'm about 5'7", because, you know, I can't see my hands. Anyway, looking all here, it looks okay, right? And then you start looking down. All these things, I don't know what they are, but that is definitely going into the doorway. There are things coming up here. That doesn't quite work. This is the foundation. This is the very first ship. And it shows how little effort has gone into hiding the fact that it is unfinished. And that's the very first one. So by the time they made those statements about how the ships were made, certainly the Sidewinder would have been given some importance, right? And look at that. Grid missing there, but over here by the chair, it's really quite shocking. And of course, all 5'7" of me, looking down at the little door. I can handle this little door. I can see an argument for why you'd have to go through a crawl space to go down a stairway or something, especially as the ship is not very big. Looking out the window here, see? It goes up in such a way that it would be very hard. You'd hit your head. So definitely you'd expect a stairway going down. You've got these grids over here. Yeah. So let's not waste more time. Let's step in here. I'll even duck in pretense of... Oh, I guess you won't be going down anywhere, because that below us, that's the SRV bay. And that's the door to the SRV bay. Wonder how far I can look in here. Put my head to the side. If I start walking outside the ship, or sort of towards the inside of the ship, plenty of room actually, granting some things to the sides here to put stuff. I guess you got the landing gear as well. And yeah, so this directly is as you can see, God, that must nearly touch the belly. We'll have to take a look from the external view afterwards, because look how this SRV space goes. So, going on again, looking over here. How are we doing? Look, we can actually, this is kind of lucky, we can get to the very back of the ship. There's the thrusters. There are the thrusters. And where would that doorway be that you come in? You know what I'm talking about, the doorway at the back. I guess you'd have a mini doorway as well. Thing is, this doesn't fit, does it? I why should there be? I don't even have an SRV bay in this ship. It doesn't come with one automatically, yet one is here, which makes it look like it's been hard placed because it's one of the things that can be done in game. You can put one in, and because you can see yourself in it, it's there. So they put it into every single ship, knowing full well that if ever they were to create Spacelegs, that this particular thing that's here would have to be reworked. Am I right? And my argument is that if they're doing that, then they're not doing what they said. Now, to suggest that that means they won't eventually put something in or rework, as has been suggested by others through the use of cutscenes and other methods of giving us a sense like we really are in there without having to actually lay in assets, I think that's quite possible. That, however, is not what's been stated. And here we are, taking a look at it. I think that's a good enough view. If I've missed anything and you'd like to point that out, I'd be happy to go back through and take another look. But as far as I can see it, it's missing a fair bit. Here we go. Back through the little door. Back through that chair, which makes no sense, with those assets that are only partway placed. Sort of, well, it looks like that's a rather thin curtain, is what I'm talking about. There's that talk about how the foundations were laid in, but I don't quite see it. Anyway, that was the Sidewinder. Just while we're here, let's see if there's anything else, any other ship that we could potentially look at where I could reach the back. But I think the Sidewinder is pretty much it. Eagle, you can't. It goes all the way back. Polar we've done. Adder. Haven't been to the Adder. The Adder has quite a bit of space, right? Okay. This is our current ship. I'll have to sell these afterwards. That doesn't matter. I figure, why not look at a couple of ships? I mean, doing the video just for the one ship is kind of a waste of an upload, waste of an opportunity. Anyway, here it is. We're on the ship. Well, I'm not sure from the look of it I'll be able to reach back there. I'll give it a shot, though. What a fantastic little space. Cozy. Another mini door. Yeah. Okay, I won't be able to walk through that door because of my space, but that's alright. As you can see, the grid here, it doesn't allow for that. But it does allow for this. Okay. Oh, interesting. Ah. There you go. You have the SRV bay at the back there, and a lot of space here. You know what? This is the first ship where I feel that some of those foundations have been laid. So what I mean by that is that at least you can see the stairway there leads to where the door is, sort of. I mean, you'd still need to move it backwards because you can't really go through a crawl space up to there to then stand up and go through the door. It doesn't actually make sense on second look. It's not. These would have to be moved, so whatever the layout will eventually be, if it will eventually be, it'll have to be moved from this, because the geometry here simply doesn't work. I'm gonna look there, the hard points, the SRV bay, so you'd figure you'd have to get a way to get in there. At least it's a much larger ship than the Sidey, and you could potentially put everything in here, sure. And that sort of fits. Of course, the issue still comes that you'd require assets to be moved in here of what already is here. The geography doesn't work. The geometry doesn't work of it. How are you going to crawl up through there to get to the door here? That's bizarre, to say the least. Yet it's what we have, and this is another one of the earliest ships. So, going back through here, looking again at the mini door for mini people. I mean, come on. That's what that is, right? It's, yeah, especially with the comment, oh, and then you have the struts going over here. Again, I mean, these were all errors on some of the basic earliest ships. And it makes me feel that they weren't entirely honest when saying that that's what they gave attention to. And I can look at it here, and this is a VR supported game. It sells as a VR supported game. So when I look around in the cockpit, which is one place where the stuff was designed for, and I see those errors, I can only wonder if how much of that, well, I can only wonder how much of that is true. Is there another one? Is there another one I can look at? Good. Sidewinder. Imperial Courier. Killback. Killback's the same as the Type 6 and Type 7, so we've been through that. Dolphin. Can we have space on the Dolphin? I don't think we can get to it, but we can check it out. Diamondback Explorer. Have we been behind that one? That'll be curious to look at. Ultra can't. No chance of reaching in there. Let's see if we can look at anything in the Dolphin. I hope you understand what I'm saying. It's not a lack of the assets being there. It's a lack of the positioning in the space and the geometry for the assets to be placed in there, which is quite different. It means that things will have to be reworked. Things as simple as the struts on the landing gear, as the landing gear and its positioning relative to the entry door, for example. This might be a little bit too far for me. Yeah, I can feel my this will, I cannot quite reach. I want to. I can just reach my head. Ooh, landing gear right here. And there you go. So you can't really see it, but you can see already from what I'm looking at over here that some of this stuff would most likely have to be moved. Look at the positioning of the landing gear and then the positioning of the door. At least this door is properly sized. And I think that's enough ships that we've looked at for now. So I'm going to finish up the video. Hope it was interesting. Cheers.